All right. Episode 3. What's been on my mind this week? Um, it's been a busy week just with family events. And I think the thing that I've been experimenting and playing around with is this idea of the direct path versus the progressive path when it comes to meditation. And I had never heard of any of these concepts 6-7 months ago, and I didn't really know what it even meant. But my current understanding, it's still super rough and very unclear and very, very frustrating to try and get my head around it. But there's two paths of meditation. There's many paths that can be categorized in many different ways, but there's this world of people who come from this direct path. And what they believe is, unlike the traditional forms of meditation where you train your mind to focus on your breath, develop certain qualities like loving kindness, or visualize feeling states that change how you feel. They believe that these are sort of nice ways to train the mind, but not stabilized ways to achieve, I don't know what even the right word is. I hate the words awakening, enlightenment, and these sort of things because it feels like goals to strive for. But I guess what someone from the direct path would talk about is this idea of there's a more direct way to try and access the present moment, the break free from our mind's hold on us, I guess, the wandering nature of our mind, the worrying nature of our mind. People who, it seems like, follow the direct path are advocates of freeing yourself from these qualities through this different style of training. And it seems like a few of the traditions like Advaita Vedanta, Dzogchen, maybe some other Asian oriented practices all kind of like lean into this notion. And I'm not even going to try and explain it right now because I'm still like understanding it. But at its core, what it appears like is you can work on different qualities of mind and shape how your mind perceives the world, or you can try to access, I guess, what it feels like, this sense of awareness, I guess, if that's the right word, and rest into it and turn your attention towards that which is aware. And I just, even words, even just saying it out loud, I'm hearing how abstract and fluffy this could sound. But it feels like once you've been able to use, let's say, breath focus, body scan, object focus to steady your attention, which I think is a necessary step, firstly, to do, you're able to turn that attention on itself and inquire into the one that is looking out. And I'm conscious that I don't want to just repeat words that I've heard and try to really think about my own experiences with it. And it's been hard, I think, is the first thing that I'd say is it's hard to know if you're doing it right. It's hard to know what does turning attention on that who is aware even mean. This is language from Rupert Swiro, and perhaps I've heard in the Waking Up app, Sam Harris. Yeah, what does it mean to turn attention around on itself? I think I've had maybe some moments of breakthrough where I've been able to almost think like inwards into my head, and kind of suddenly sometimes I become more aware of my whole body. But you can hear that I'm saying a lot of the word sometimes quite a lot, and umming and ahhing a lot here, because it really is this new way of experiencing meditation for me. I'm very comfortable with the sense of, okay, I am a meditator and I am practicing focusing my attention on the breath. But this is different to that. And not that breath focus is the only style that I do, but this feels different from what I'm hearing is you're trying to connect to your sense of awareness, aka the central part of you that has been around since you were young, has seen your like childhood memories, teenage memories, and is who you are now. And it's slightly different to the body because our body's changed in that time. It's slightly different to the external circumstances we find ourselves in. It's this sort of quiet, onlooking part of us. And I believe there to be some truth in that. I think there's something in that feels right, even though I can't quite understand it or perhaps even access it as much as I want or if at all. But I think it's been really interesting just trying to think about, all right, I think there's loads of benefits that can be had, at least that have been had in my own life, from other like traditional meditation techniques or the progressive meditation techniques, like learning how to anchor the mind when it feels overwhelmed has been really helpful on a day-to-day basis, just to not be completely pulled by it whenever it wants, or learning how, if my body is feeling subconsciously a particular emotion, how to maybe change that and imagine more positive scenarios happening in the world and my life and feel those feelings. I don't think those will go away, at least in my sort of toolkit. But there's something here in this direct path business, this notion that the way someone called Stephen Bodian described it, which I quite liked, was this idea that, where are his words? Hold up. Yeah, this idea of just relaxing into ourselves, and unlike other meditation techniques, just really allowing awareness and things to come and go, yourself just to sit. And I don't really know is the answer. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if I don't know. I think it still takes time from what I'm hearing. It's not like something that happens instantly. You still have to work on the direct path. It's not a quick route to getting whatever the benefits of it are. But it is taught by certain traditions that have been around for thousands of years, which I think piques my curiosity. And I think it's complementary to the other techniques that exist out there. I guess, yeah, this week's reflection is really more about the confusion around it, even though I've heard different speakers talk about it for the last 6 months, sort of on and off online. I've like followed a few apps that are guiding practices. It feels a bit harder to access, or a bit unclear. I don't think that's a bad thing, and I think that's the sort of cost of entry into some of these techniques. But from the way thinkers describe it, they talk a lot around this word of like stabilized attention, or not even attention, stabilized wisdom, or stabilized enlightenment, awakening, whatever these phrases are. And I think there's something about the direct path which can help with that journey that I'm not convinced other paths can. And again, I don't really have hard evidence. This is obviously what others have shared, but there's something in me that feels inclined to believe them in that way. I remember last year I worked with a meditation teacher, and he said this similar thing to me. He said, yeah, just allow yourself to rest in awareness. And I was like to him, what is awareness? Like, I don't even know. That word is not even like in our vocabulary, right? Now, what does awareness mean? It's so, I don't know. And he tried to explain it to me at the time. Oh yeah, it compromises everything that you're really experiencing, your sights, your sound, your touch, like your vision. I think I'm beginning to understand it a bit more. For me, my current understanding and definition of awareness is this element within you that you call I, that is aware of everything happening. And when you meditate, you realize you're not your thoughts, because you can kind of see thoughts come and go. Because before we think we are our thoughts, but when you start meditating, you kind of realize you're not your thoughts. You realize you're this deeper sense of I. And I think for me, that's awareness. And that's this sort of sense of, right now I can feel my hands moving, or hear a car drive by, or taste the bit of tea on my lips, feel the temperature of the room, and my awareness can narrow down, and my attention is therefore, when I'm concentrating my wider awareness on a particular thing like this object. But even then, awareness can still hear a sound happening outside, or if someone bursts into the room, my awareness is able to pick up them. So we're resting in awareness, which I feel like a lot of the direct path encourages us to do, instead of sharpening focus. It feels quite nice. It feels like, just, they say the word resting, like kind of just sitting back in to the moment, beyond whatever's going on in the mind, or beyond whatever's going on in life. Still a lot to figure out here. That's the thing I've been thinking about the most. These two journeys, and for me, at least at this stage, it feels like they're very complementary. Like trying to figure out these ways to improve our attention, anchor the mind, feel good in the day, and at the same time, starting to now question if that's the only way, and this whole world of inquiry, direct path, Advaita Vedanta, Dzogchen, these kind of thinkers here. It's quite interesting. And I think there is something here. If I do this long enough, there's something waiting to be uncovered.